graph, so we will get something like this. This is y-axis, the x-axis. This is 2, this is 3, and this is the center. And okay, let's do some math for fun. Today we are going to show that these two implicit function is not a function. And if you guys don't know what is implicit function, well, implicit function basically is a function that is not represented in form of y is equal to f of x. If a function is represented in form of y is equal to f of x, that is called the explicit function. And as always, if you guys are interested in this question, pause the video and try them for yourself. Okay, now let's solve the first implicit function. Now for the implicit function a, if you look very closely, it is actually what we call the equation of circle. So, but in this case, it is an equation of a circle. It is an equation of circle with center. We center what? Center 2, 3. Center 2, 3 with radius 2. So we can quickly plot the graph, so we will get something like this. This is y-axis, the x-axis. This is 2, this is 3, and this is the center, and we will plot the circle. Well, we will plot the circle something like this. My drawing is really bad, but I'm sorry, but I will try to draw as beautiful as I can. And we know that when we have a graph like this, we can actually straight away conclude that this graph is not a function by vertical line test. Yes, by vertical line test, this is not a function. So we can straight away conclude that a, the implicit function a, is not a function. Now, if you guys don't know if you guys don't know that this is the equation of circle, you can think of like this. Now, for this implicit function a, we will solve for y. So we will get y minus 3 square is equal to 4 minus x minus 2 square. And when we take square root the other side, don't forget to put plus minus. So we will get y minus 3 is equal to plus minus the square root of 4 minus x minus 2 square. And then finally we just add 3 on both sides, so we get y is equal to 3 plus minus the square root of 4 minus x minus 2 square. Now what we can see is this implicit function is the combination of 3 plus the square root of 4 minus x minus 2 square and 3 minus the square root of 4 minus x minus 2 bracket square, which means that when we input one value of x, we will have two values of y. So when we plug in one value of x, we will get two values of y. That is exactly what we call the not many to one, it's one to many relation situation, which means that this implicit function has a one to many relation situation. And remember, function for every kind of function, we will only have two types of relation, whether it is one to one or many to one relation. But since this implicit function has a one to many relation, we can conclude that this is not a function. because function will not have one-to-many relation. So we can straight away conclude that this implicit function is not a function, and we are done for question A. Okay, now let's solve question B. Now, y times sine of y is equal to x. Do we really have any special kind of equation? No, we have none. We have no this kind of equation. But what we can see is y times sine of y is equal to x. What if we interchange the variable x to y and y to x? Because if I do that, I will get x times sine of x is equal to y, which is an explicit function. And explicit function is a much easier way to recognize whether this function is a one-to-one or many-to-one. Because in this kind of function, x times sine of x is equal to y, we can already know that this is actually one-to-one or many-to-one relation. But our job is we need to verify that y times sine of y is equal to x is not a function. So what we can see is when we interchange the variable from x to y or from y to x, we can say that this function is the inverse function for this. Is the inverse function for this original function, which means that when we interchange once again, we will get back this equation y times sine of y is equal to x. So when we interchange it back, we need, in order to show that this is not a function, this implicit function is not a function, we must say that y is equal to x times sine of x fails the horizontal line test. Because remember the horizontal line test, you must consider every horizontal line exists in the coordinate plane. If there's one line intersect more than one, which means that its inverse function is not a function. So we can conclude that which means our aim right now is to show that y is equal to x times sine of x must fails the horizontal line test. So we must consider just one y value. Let's say 0, because it is the easiest way to verify whether it has only one x value or more x value. If it has one x value, which means this explicit function pass the horizontal line test. If it has more than one x value, which means that this function fails the horizontal line test. So we will set this y equal to 0, because if we set it, it will be really easy to solve. So x times sine of x is equal to 0. Now we got two factors here, which means what? Which means that it can be x is equal to 0 or sine of x is equal to 0. When x is equal to so we get the first answer, x is equal to 0. Now sine of x is equal to 0. So when x is equal to inverse sine of 1, I mean sine inverse sine of 0, we know the inverse sine of 0 is going to be 0. But don't forget, when we have an equal to 0 situation, we have to plus pi n, where n is an integer. So inverse sine of 0 is 0 plus pi n. So our answer is pi n, where n is an integer. which means that x is equal to, when x is equal to pi n, when n is an integer, which means it can be pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, or maybe even 0 pi that's equal to 0, but we have already the 0 right here. And it can be negative pi, negative 2 pi, negative 3 pi, negative 5 pi, negative 1 million pi, and so on. It's because it's an integer, so we don't care. Which means that we have an infinite x value. And just as I said, if we have more than one x value, this function fails the horizontal line test. And as we can see, we have infinite solution, infinite values of x for just one y value, which means that this function really fails the horizontal line test, which means that its inverse, which is the original function that we need to examine whether it is not a function or not, whether it is not a function, is really not a function. And we are done for question B. Normally we will use the horizontal line test to find whether the function is, whether its inverse is a function or not, but I will try to use it in this video. I will how to say this, but in this video I use horizontal line test for other purpose, which means that we can identify whether we can show that this function is not a function or not. And as always, if you guys enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming math videos, and I will see you guys next time.